Not all were heroes. Not all could be ace pilots in the Pacific theatre of war. Most who passed through the exhibition buildings were simple suburban kids. On the 30th of July 1941, 17-year-old Royce Clifford Phillips of Adelaide applied for pre-enlistment training for prospective aircrew. His assessment by recruiters was far from glowing. On the form they wrote, "Unsuitable for aircrew." Undeterred, 3 months later, Royce enlisted as a trainee fitter with the RAAF, and in December 1941 he's posted to the No. 1 School of Technical Training in Melbourne. Although Royce's story is unremarkable, it's through him we know much about the life of the men and women stationed at the exhibition buildings. Royce's name first came to prominence during the restoration works in 1989. Of the few hundred objects found underneath the floorboards, 14 letters were written to Royce. Although his voice is absent, the letters paint a picture of a well-liked young man navigating adult life.
Dear son, just a few lines in answer to your most kind and welcome letter, which I hope will find you safe and well. I'm sending you some money for Christmas so that you can buy something for yourself. Uncle Bill, Elsie and Eileen are well and wish you a Merry Christmas. I remain your loving father.
In a few letters, a young woman, Roma Wright, opens her heart to Royce, wondering when they'll meet again.
My dear Roy, how are you, dear, after last night? I hope you enjoyed yourself, because I did.
In another letter, Roma mentions she'd been thinking of him as she took an afternoon stroll.
I was down Sydney Road this afternoon and was wondering if I would see your trucks go by.
But Royce and Roma's love affair was short-lived. He's soon in the company of another girl. In a letter penned February 20, 1942, his auntie Lil wrote,
"You say the lady brought along another girlfriend for you. Well, what has happened to Roma?"
Sadly, we'll never know his response nor what becomes of Roma Wright. In another letter, we sense a father's growing concern about the sort of company Royce appears to be keeping.
You said that you went out to some lady's place. Well, I hope you had a good time. But you know, son, that you have to be careful who you mix up with over there.
But Royce's active social life soon came to an end. On the 28th of February 1942, Royce sat an RAAF trade test and failed. In March, he's posted to the No. 2 Bombing and Gunnery School at Port Pirie in South Australia. There, pilots and aircrew received bombing and gunnery training in Avro Ansons and Fairey Battle Mark Is before deployment in the Pacific. But as an aircraft hand, Royce would have performed maintenance and general station duties. In July 1942, Royce was posted to Darwin, where he joined 13 Squadron. In March, he completes an armament trade test. This time he passed and was promoted to leading aircraftman. For the next few months, Royce was kept busy as 13 Squadron launched airstrikes on Japanese targets from their base in Batchelor, just outside of Darwin. In mid-1943, Royce is redeployed to 457 Squadron, an Australian unit dispatched from the UK to defend the Australian mainland. With highly experienced pilots and a capable ground crew, 457 Squadron inflicted heavy losses on Japanese aircraft throughout 1943. But as the squadron is redeployed to the Pacific, Royce remained in Australia and was moved from base to base. Before Royce was discharged, he took one last test. Although his time with the RAAF was marred with incidents of drunkenness and being absent without leave, he passed and was promoted to the rank of flight mechanic. At the end of the war, he returned to the suburbs of Adelaide. Although we'll never know why he left letters underneath the floorboards, His letters reveal that wars are not won by heroes, but through hard toil by ordinary men and women, like Royce Clifford Phillips.